Hello, I'm Ophelia.
And I'm Matthew.
Welcome to Art Mood. We're doing this art channel to share the joy of looking at art, which can be historical or contemporary, paintings, sculptures, or even photography. We'll be choosing a different theme for each month, and in this episode, we're doing Hogarth. So we'd like to hear from you, so join us or leave us a message if you like what we did. And this will be the third episode of our Hogarth series. So, what are we looking at today?
Well, we'll be looking at two pieces today.
I think you have this portrait of Hogarth, isn't it?
Yes. Um, I'll have to check back on where I actually found it. But
Is this a self-portrait, right?
yes, it is. He made quite a number of them. And I saw this one for the first time today, so I thought I would use it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a very soft kind of looks, right?
Mm.
And it will resonate really well with one of the paintings today.
Yes. So, um,
So where are we, or what location are we looking at?
yes, this is in France. It's in an area called Salé.
Calais, is
Calais,
it?
Calais. Sorry, I've been trying to pronounce that all day. Yes. This event, this started off as a sketch when Hogarth was visiting France with a few other artists, and essentially he was waiting at this port at Calais, and he decided to sketch the gate there, which had sort of like a British decoration.
Is that the architecture that we're looking straight
Yes,
ahead?
exactly. It's on the gate at the very top.
Right.
Yes.
I like the shadows that hits on the gate,
Yeah, it's a
and we're looking through the arch, right? So the scene happens through this arch.
exactly. Um, so essentially, whilst he was sketching this area, he was arrested by some policemen who essentially thought he was a spy because he was doing some sketches of the area, and he had to prove that he wasn't a spy by showing them his drawings and actually drawing some of the people around there just to show that he's an artist. And he also had to be deported afterwards.
So we
And
can see Hogarth on the left hand side,
that's
right?
right, yeah.
With like there's this very subtle kind of hand reaching out on his shoulders.
Yeah,
So this is the moment that when he was arrested.
yeah. It's
So
quite
what
cool.
we see here, that was the background that you mentioned just now.
Yes.
So yeah, he went traveling and then he returned to England from Calais, this seaport in France, waiting for the boat. And what we see here, this centerpiece is very attractive. Right in the middle, there's this large piece of meat, beef instead. And so we can see how heavy it is because this chef carrying it, his knees bend, and we know there's this really like, this heaviness on this beef. But where do you know where he's taking this beef to?
Supposedly he's taking it to England, I suppose. Um, Essentially, beef was kind of a sign of wealth and power in the UK.
And I
And
think,
yeah.
especially at the time, like France was in a famine, so a lot of people were starving. And so this chef was taking this beef, this huge piece of meat, to this English inn. So it's like today's hotel for British tourists there. And we can see the guards there behind the chef drinking very watery soup. You can see like one of them like spilled it, and we can see how watery the soup is. And then they were like looking like really wanted to taste that piece of meat, right?
Yeah. The soldiers look particularly goofy, which is kind of a reoccurring thing with Hogarth's work is that he really can't stand the French. So often the French are portrayed as being horrible or being kind of
Just like fashionable
yes,
and
exactly.
pretentious, and
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
but he also made fun of like the priest there, right?
Yes. He's the only one that's actually, you know, big. He clearly is able to eat every day. But he still wants more, I guess.
So
He,
there's like a greedy French priest,
yes.
and we can see like comparing to the guards, like he is very big.
Mm-mm.
He still wanted that piece of meat.
Mm.
We can see on the right hand side there are these two peasants, maybe, or guards that carrying this pot of soup, I assume.
Yes. Probably what the soldiers are drinking, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then on the that corner right there, there's this person lying there. Do we know anything about why this figure is there?
Yes. From what I found out, he's a Jacobite, which is essentially like a someone that supported King James II. So during this time, the Scottish went to France to kind of rebel, and they sort of failed. So they were just kind of stranded there.
Mm,
Um,
and they cannot go back to England, or they cannot return to
yeah,
Scotland.
they can't return to Scotland, I suppose.
So
Yeah,
they cannot go back to England either.
yeah, exactly. So
Um,
so they kind of just stuck there, and
mm,
you can see him wearing his a tartan suit,
yeah,
and you can see a small onion right next to him, and a slice of bread. So
yeah,
he's not good financially either, but
and not really nutritional nourished, right?
yeah,
In the circumstances.
yeah, can't really survive on an onion. But yeah,
And then on the other side, there are like three women, right? Is
yes.
it?
Just a moment.
So what were they doing? Was it?
They seem to have a basket of fish,
Mm,
including a fish type, a fish called a skate. It's sort of this manta ray sort of looking fish at the center.
mm, mm.
Yeah,
So they're happy with the catches, or
yeah, exactly. One of them was wearing a crucifix as well.
huh?
Yeah,
And does it have any special meaning?
yeah.
Like,
If you look at the center of the image, you can see.
right?
Let me zoom in a bit. Um, you can see these holy members. They're carrying a giant crucifix.
Mm-hmm.
They're underneath a sign with a dove on it.
Mm-hmm.
You see all these people bowing to these people.
Mm.
Yeah. And actually, with this bird here on the sign, you can actually see at the top of this image that there's a black crow as well,
Mm. Mm.
kind of like a contrast. Maybe it's to kind of represent the bad people at the front of the gate and the good people in the past the gate.
So is there a specific reason that Hogarth wanted to depict the crucifix or the Roman Catholic here?
I suppose it was something he saw just at that time. Maybe they were kind of what's the word?
Or
Um,
satirizes the church at the time? I don't know.
yeah, they were.
Because the priests and there are like people starving, and then this big priest is like drilling over this piece of meat.
Mm-mm. I suppose they were missionaries, but they were being treated very well.
Right.
Maybe too well. I suppose.
So Hogarth like painted this as soon as he returned to England, right?
That's right.
Kind of like trying to like wanted to take his revenge of this
Exactly.
badly treatment when he was in France.
Mm, exactly. He's quite a petty dude. He has quite a number of things he doesn't like, and I feel like I'm sure he didn't like the French at this time anyway. But this sort of reinforced his anger towards them. So
Mm.
he felt like, oh, I have to tell everyone about this.
So I guess it was just like a humiliation, right? And he took this opportunity to satirize the French again.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Um, I don't know if he went to France again after that, but I feel like it was his last time going there.
Right, I have no idea.
Yeah,
But and then
supposedly.
well, as in most of his paintings, he created this, and then afterwards he created engravings again, right?
That's right. Um, just a moment. Yes, as usual, the engravings are a bit more detailed. It's easier to make out um, the details. He's also still in um, the image as well on the left.
Yeah, and do we still see the hand?
Yes, it's a little hard to see, but it's still
Yeah,
there.
but it's there. It is
Yeah.
much. It seems like much clearer.
Hmm.
And there was this difference, right? Is there a crow there up
Oh,
in the?
there is no
It's
crow.
gone, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but I think it was. It says that it was there was this mistake in the painting, and he painted this crow to cover it in the painting. So that's why the engravings doesn't have it. But I'm not sure
Hmm.
because I think when it was restored, they couldn't find any trace of it.
Hmm. That
So it might
that
be
makes
just a
sense.
change of mind. Yeah, and oh, and there's another name for this, right?
Yes. Oh, the roast beef of Old England.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
So
Oh,
that's
go
why
ahead.
this piece of meat really like just take our attention
Mm-mm.
as soon as we cast our eyes on it.
Yeah. Do you know the where the name comes from?
I don't know, is it from like a poem or literature or something?
Hmm. More or less, yeah. It came from a popular song at the time.
Okay.
Yes. The song is very lengthy, so I would recommend just googling it. But the song essentially is just about how the roast beef represents the pride of England.
Mm,
The pride of you know liberty, wealth, that sort of thing.
mm,
Yeah.
okay. Well, shall we look at the next painting?
Sure.
So he has a very different one. We don't see any satirical like subjects here. It's
Mm.
just seven or six figures.
Mm.
And who are they?
Well, it's implied that they are Hogarth's servants. Well, people that work in his household or just help him with daily things.
Like
Yeah,
coachman and housekeeper and last page
valet.
boy,
Yeah,
right? So in those days, it's this is a very common kind of thing.
exactly. Yeah. Um,
But what is uncommon is that the depiction of servants, right?
yes. They're not usually the focus of most work at the time. Because servants were just kind of they were just there. They weren't really. They were just meant to be doing like certain jobs. They weren't really seen as too important. You know.
So they're behind the scene.
Exactly.
But here there's a reason, right, that Hogarth actually
Mm,
kind of painted this.
yes. Um. There's a few reasons why he could have painted this. He might have felt that ordinary people need to be remembered as well.
Mm,
That might have been his mindset. Um, his other his other reasoning could have been he needed something to compare his work with. So if he depicts these servants on canvas, and people visited his home, they would see the servants on the canvas and think, "Wow, he's really good at really depicting people really well. Like he captures the likeliness, the likeness."
Mm.
Yeah. Or I could just
So
sorry,
Hogarth is
continue.
like an astute artist and businessman, or kind of.
Yes.
Otherwise, he wouldn't like really go for the Copyright Act and then create an engraving so that he can create mass quantity of it.
Mm,
So it's more or less the same for this painting, because anyone who visits the Hogarth's house, they will come into contact with the servants,
mm,
and this was shown in the studio or in the hallway. I'm not sure,
mm,
but anyone who walked by, and then they will see the likeness of, like you said, the likeness of the figures here, the subjects here,
mm,
and yeah, they're more or less like a demonstration, right? Because you cannot really see any characters in them.
mm,
So the three ladies, they're around the same age, youthful,
mm.
whereas the three male figures, they depict like the different ages of men:
That's true. That's true.
childhood, adult, and older life.
Mm,
And they're all staring into the distance.
mm,
So not a hint of characteristics in them. So we don't know what they're like or what kind of task they do.
mm. We can only speculate, more or less.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's more like a demonstration kind of work.
Yeah.
Like we can see the hair, the skin tone, and yeah, the eyes and features.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
right.
that's a very interesting painting. It's a very sensitive kind of painting too, because these are the people who Hogarth actually lived with
Yes. That's
and see
right.
every day. So compared to other works of his, this is very different.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't really tell a moral story,
Mm.
or it's not like a short film.
Mm.
It's just a demonstration of his sensitivity,
Mm.
even though it might be, business related.
Mm. That's true. Yeah, two birds with one stone, I suppose.
Yeah,
Um, yes. So, from what I could find out, some of I can maybe gather some of the names of the people present.
yeah,
So, one of them is called Samuel, which I think is that boy up here.
okay. Do we know what he did?
I believe he was a page.
Mm-hmm.
So a page is just like a servant, but they I don't think they get big responsibilities, just smaller ones. Like
Mm.
cleaning and that sort of thing. Um, one of the men is called Ben Ives, but I don't know if it's the one in the middle or the one on the right.
Mm.
Yeah, and the tricky one is that one of these women is called Mary Lewis, who is Hogarth's wife's cousin,
Mm.
who was working at the house at that time.
Mm.
Um, Funny enough, this painting was made later in Hogarth's life,
Mm.
and maybe about 10 years after this painting, he passed away,
Mm.
and this painting was left with Hogarth's wife, and then she passed on. And the painting went actually to one of the people in this painting, Mary Lewis.
Mm.
And then eventually National Gallery, then finally Tate Britain.
So it's not in Tate Britain, isn't it?
Yeah. So is the previous painting actually. They're both in the Tate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think of today's piece?
Um, it's very different from, well, with this particular one. It's very different from the other work we've been looking at. A lot of it was quite dark, like a
Mm.
dark topic. This
Mm.
one is just very like wholesome. It's just people.
Mm.
Um, it's all kind of it's also the same lighting. So all the light is actually on the top left, of
Mm.
the canvas,
Mm.
and yeah, it's just very different from what we're used to.
Mm.
Especially since I was told he finds it hard to draw, or not just draw, but paint dignity,
Mm.
and you can kind of see dignity in these the people that he's painted here.
Yeah, you're very true. And I agree with that. Yeah, because he had like painted some portraitures before, right? But this one is it has like this sensitivity. Maybe it's because it was painted in his later life. Could it be? And it softens.
Yeah. Mm,
Yeah.
mm. That's actually a really good point. He probably got very soft later in his life and maybe less cynical.
Yes.
Yeah, he started to
Yeah.
appreciate people more, and you know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I like this piece too. It's a very nice contrast to his earlier satirical works,
Yes. Yeah.
and it really demonstrates his like sensitive side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is very neutral depiction. The compositions of the painting almost looks like they're very famous people,
Right. Yeah. It's
like
it's a good
like
point.
renowned and respectable,
Mm-mm.
and they are, of course. But it's a very nice kind of like a different painting.
Mm-mm. Very true.
Mm. As for the Gate of Calais, like
Yes. Go back to that.
Hogarth turned his little adventure in Calais into a painting and recorded this episode of his life. So it's like writing a diary, but just in paintings, not with
Mm-mm.
words.
Mm-mm.
And then he even like transformed the painting into engravings and then distributed it,
Mm.
to let everyone know or to satirize the situation in France during the period.
Mm. Very true. Yeah. It was
And
also. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, I just yeah, go ahead. Like, what do you think of the Gate of Calais?
Um, I do like that he inserted himself into the painting. You know, I
Yeah.
thought that was an interesting choice. Also, the um, it captures the moment where he was just sketching and then he gets arrested. I
Mm.
thought that was kind of creative.
Like some artists actually really like to put their presence into the works, right?
That's right.
Like Rembrandt and who else? Oh, I can't find think of anyone now, but it's very interesting.
Mm, very true. I like it.
Well, is there anything that you'd like to share?
Um, hmm. That's pretty much it. We should probably decide what to discuss for next week, I guess. Any ideas?
Well, I thought we talked about it, but yeah, stay with us, and then you'll know what which we're going to do another Hogarth next week. But you'll find out when next week which topic it's going to be or
Okay.
which painting it's going to be.
All
And
right.
so that's the end of this episode, and we hope you have enjoyed it. And feel free to give us any comments and or feedback, and or leave us a message. So have a good day, good evening, wherever you are, and we look forward to you joining us next week.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye.